Welcome to breaking news in the Noah Presgrove case. Just recently, it's come about a very creepy, disturbing finding in regard to Jasmine Millan's Snapchat photo from the party on the day of when Noah Presgrove went missing. Supposedly, blood has been found on her face within the photo. Today, I'm going to be giving my reaction on the matter as to whether I believe it is the case or not. And I'll be doing some side-by-side comparisons of photos of her from the party a day before or so to see, did anything change in between? What was on her face post-disappearance of Noah, was it there earlier? And if it wasn't, then maybe it could be blood. But something did happen, when Presgrove was supposedly walking away at 3:30. In addition, I've slightly enhanced the images, but just the brightness without impacting the hair. It's more so the face, and I've got markers. It might look a little bit blurry, but from the looks of it, when it comes to editing photos, the markers seem to blend in with the original resolution of the photo. I don't know why it does that, but I'll still point out and zoom in on screen so you can get to see it clearly yourself from the original photo to the one where I've got all the markers on for that full perspective, and then try and add on under those circumstances of if there was blood from Noah Presgrove on Jasmine's face, what did she get involved in exactly? You must be close enough to get that on you, right? And if it's a splatter, it might highlight what could have happened to Noah. Whilst people are watching this live premiere, welcome. And those in the background too, I appreciate it. Be sure to let me know your reactions and thoughts as to whether you agree or not. Make use of the live chat box on the right side of the screen. And if you'd like to elaborate on the situation or any questions, answers, corrections, it's all welcome. Be sure to drop a comment down below under the video. And if you'd like to support me and my channel and coverage on this case, there is a PayPal link in the channel comment section pinned. If you'd like to catch up on my recent videos on this case, the full playlist is available top right corner of the screen where the I symbol is. With that all being said, let's get into today's mystery. To some, what looked to be an innocent selfie announcing that Noah wasn't present and possibly missing out, to others claiming there was a sinister smile, something else going on behind the scenes, behind in a mind, and what she could have been looking at because no eye contact was made with the camera. Some believed that she was drunk at the time, and others felt that she wasn't and knew exactly what was going on. But what's really happening? If in recent time, and maybe some of the discussions have resurfaced about this particular image, a selfie, uploaded to Snapchat, in which the timestamps and captions could have been added all at the same point. Clearly she wasn't drunk enough, I guess, to be able to do the post and press all the correct buttons. But I believe some people had said you can go back to Snapchat post later and add on the overlays. Well, if you can add and edit later, is the time 3:41 when she actually took the photo? Or was it earlier when she took the photo and then decided to go back to it and add on from it with more context? But technically it would be out of context by then if a later time is given. Normally overlays of timestamps tend to be at the true time of when you're making that post, or maybe the true time of when you're re-editing the post. So it's not historical the same way. If I zoom in just a little bit so you can see for context, she is outside the front porchway under the patio area, the entrance to the party house. Just behind her is the party house door. The Ring doorbell camera is somewhere behind her head, but it wasn't working at the time, supposedly. In fairness, if it was working, the doorbell camera, would we be any closer to the truth behind what happened to Noah Presgrave? Who was coming, who was going, and at what times? Is there a coincidence why it wasn't working? I believe it was described as old, outdated, and people just couldn't be bothered in replacing it. Would you say it was convenient for anyone that it didn't work? Anyone in particular? Any names that come to your mind? Because if people are suspicious of Jasmine Millan still after all this time, are they going to think that because the doorbell camera didn't work, it benefits her? Because from our point of view, we're looking at her face and the background, which is the party house door. What she's looking at is the phone she's got in front of her. However, her eyes are focused off camera. So what caught her attention exactly? Just in addition, where it says, well, Noah is missing, people find that message strange and suspicious. The emojis next to missing are of someone that is drunk or dizzy. That could apply to her. Merry, happy, drunk, not quite there with it, possibly. But conscious enough to take a photo and able to post it. This is what we've got to acknowledge. Whether someone is in a vulnerable place, literally, physically, mentally, whether they be struggling or they're just drunk, can be somewhat vulnerable, not fully there with it, as in their senses and reflexes, but whether someone is supposedly struggling or a little drunk or something else, if they are able to do the odd action here and there, they are still functioning. They're not completely past it. They're not completely a lost cause. Let's make that very clear. This person can still stand up. This person can still smile. They can still hold the phone out and not drop it on the ground. And whilst I have made my observations about the hair being wet, the shirt, the top being wet, what about the blood? Where is the blood? I've looked at this photo enough already, and I've not noticed it myself, but upon people taking a closer look at the skin and enhancing the imagery to bring certain things out on the skin to light, metaphorically speaking, there might be more to it. We've got to understand that the quality of the photo isn't the best, and if Jasmine Millan has freckles on her skin, that could be misunderstood for something else, like blood splatter. Depends on how many freckles she has on her. Got to take in mind that if there was any blood, if it appears darker, it could still be blood when it dries. At first, when it's fresh, it could be more red, crimson, and then eventually it starts going darker and darker. So, whilst you may have not seen anything yet, I just wanted to allow you time to take a look yourself to let me know, do you see any blood? Let me know in the comment section or the live chat if you've noticed it. What we will do now is transition on to the slightly enhanced one. As I said, where those circles, ovals are, they should be clearer, but it seems to merge with the quality of the photo, which is a bit weird. But nevertheless, there's a lot going on all of a sudden. You look at the photo raw, you might not pick up on much. And yet now, look at everything that's on screen. There's a lot happening. Let's first start off with the clearer ones down here. So you see a top just around under her neck area. The shirt itself does appear darker in colour, like a wet patch. That could well be and likely caused by the fact that with her longish hair and the hair on the side being wet, because it's resting on her or over her shoulder, around the collarbone area, squashed in between her right cheek, her right collarbone, and the t-shirt that she's wearing, basically that wet hair is pressing against the material and the material is absorbing some of the wetness from her hair. So the wetness is spreading, and that's why it's a bit damp, the top. Then the same with on the right-hand side, partially, not as much hair making contact with her clothing, but the odd little strands, as you see on the right, those loose strands, some of which could have touched out partially on her top. And if there was any, water at point dripping down her hair, down the strands, the loose strands, and then landing, collecting on her shirt, then being absorbed by the material and creating a slight wet patch. But all that indicates and shows is likely post-shower. As for this being at 3:41, Noah had a shower before that and supposedly before 3:30. That's the time when he walked away, so it's before that. Obviously, what's interesting is, with Noah walking away at 3:30, Jasmine Millan took this photo about 11 minutes later. Within 11 minutes of Noah walking away, how far did Noah get? And what did Jasmine actually see and hear? Was any attempt made to look for Noah at that point, or was it just about getting some fresh air? We do still have the original statement also by Jasmine explaining her thoughts and defending herself, which we'll get to probably in a second. But besides those circles where the wet patches are on her shirt, if we're talking about potential blood splatter, the more prominent one, which was first pointed out by some, was her eyebrow. Now, I don't know if you can see. You look at her left eyebrow. And when I say left eyebrow, I mean hers from her point of view, right? To us, looking at the screen, it's her right. But for her, herself, it's her left. Where you see it circled, there appears to be a darkish dot. Now, what could that possibly be? A freckle? A scar? A spot? With Jasmine's eyebrows, they're quite, what would you call it? I'm not an expert when it comes to beauty, makeup and all that. My face doesn't say much itself. But when you look at her eyebrows, they're not quite dense or full with hair. They're slightly faded, but they are quite wide and long, but not too curved, if that makes sense. With the brows being faded, any abnormalities or marks or stains do show up more. And even without enhancing the imagery, making it brighter, bringing the dark out from the light, you can still see the odd few dots. And one of the more prominent ones is within the eyebrow area. As for blood splatter, it can get on your face if you're too close to something. It can spray, depending on the angle, where you are, whether you're looking, whether you try and turn away, dodge it, but you can get it on your face. Is it possible that because Noah had a shower earlier on, before 3:30, with this being taken at 3:41, is her wet hair and wet top from the shower when assisting Noah, or was it from Jasmine, based on the theory of if it's blood on her face, she washed herself down at some point? She washed herself down around the time of 3:30 or so. If anything happened to Noah at that time, and if for some reason Jasmine was involved or close by, and if Noah's blood got on her face, she may have tried washing it off, but forgot certain areas and, neglected it. Then when she went to take a photo after, saying Noah's missing, which is code word for what exactly? Possibly the job's done. That she forgot to wipe some of the blood off her face. I'm trying to make sense of the situation, try and understand what other people online could be thinking in order to make the observation of blood on the face. Trying to make sense of the timing of it all too. Is it possible? Because when looking back at this one, yes, it does appear very clear. Shirt slightly wet, hair wet. Can't really deny that. Caden Pressey acknowledged it too. But the real question is it from the time of when Noah had that shower and needed to be assisted? Jasmine was close, the water splashed onto her. Well, if you're close, things can splash onto you. After that event, when Noah was walking off or around the bedroom debacle, was Jasmine close to Noah a second time round, as in when Noah passed away? May have been murdered, something bad happened, and with being close once again, there was a splash, but this time of blood, trying to wash it away, trying to get rid of it, but leaving a remnants behind on her face. Did it dry quick? Did it dry after? I mean, do we see any smudging? We don't, from the looks of it. You know, because when you look at her eyes and under the eyelids, you don't really see any trails of mascara. Sometimes that happens when a person cries, and other times it can happen if it's been raining. You're in the rain, you're in the park, you don't have an umbrella or a coat. As the rain's trickling down on your scalp, running down your skin, down your cheek, it can collect around the teardrops, tear duct, the eyelids, and if it's not waterproof, the makeup, it can wash off. And under this circumstance, we don't really seem to see any makeup washing off. That's if she was wearing makeup. That could give it away, as in if she did have blood on her face, it's not truly clear and visible that it looks like it may have been washed away, hence the wet hair, wet shirt, but you would have probably splashed water on your face and in your eyes. Unless makeup was applied after, there's different ways of looking at it. But then again, it's a bit hard to tell. You know, to be honest, her eyes are shiny. And when you look around and under the eyelid, there could well be a slight bit of staining, actually. Whether that be because of a person crying, or if it, as I said, water making contact with the eyes, the lashes, not so much the brows, but just the lashes. Because it looks like mascara may have actually left a possible dark patch, a lightish dark patch under her eyelids. Maybe a bit more prominent on the left-hand side from what we're looking at. It looks like it may have leaked just a little bit. It's interesting that. See, what we've always got to remember, and it might not apply here, but you never know really. When you look at Noah Presgrove at the party, looks like he's having fun, the atmosphere is positive. When you look at Jasmine Millan here, she appears happy, maybe in a slightly different world by looking off camera, being a bit drunk, but happy and merry. But not everyone's smiles tell the same story within. It could well be a mask, an exterior in the moment. You never know. Is she truly happy? It's only because with the under the eyes, did they cry? Was water splashed in their face? Was it just simply from the shower? Could well be that too. Could it simply be down to sweating, moisture, it being humid, and just by sweating, it coming down the skin, getting in the eyes, and then mixing with the mascara, and then causing it to leak a little. Wherever there's moisture, you could apply it possibly. But yeah, besides the potential blood splatter on her face, I think looking at the eyes and under can tell another story too. You can look at someone's eyes because the eyes are the window and the opening to a person's thoughts and brain. You let me know if you picked up anything yourself with that. When focusing back on her, the brows, on the right hand side to us, there is a dot in terms of her nose area. there are a lot of dots, but that could well be freckles. We've also got to take into account the graininess of the photo. Yes, I increased the sharpness, but even when it's not sharp, like this one, it still is blurry, a little bit fuzzy, right? Making it sharper just enhances it a little bit so you can see a bit more definition. So it does look like there's some either freckles or, as other people are claiming, blood. Anything near the chin area? There's a faint little dot in between those two ovals, lower right part of her lip. You can see like a little black dot. A black dot like what you see around her nose area, inside, and then the more prominent black dot in her eyebrow. In some areas, blood and dried blood could be masked, slightly camouflaged by if there's facial hair, there's hair in spots and areas, and brows, because of the width of them, can cover some of it, possibly. But then, what else do we have? Whether it be the quality, and no offence, whether it be acne, whether it be the shadows, you got to take that all into consideration. On her jawline, cheek area, on the side of her face where the other circle is at, incorporating some of her hair, is there any blood splatter there? Is it just patchy? Is it the quality, the visuals? I just simply tried marking out everything that I could see or appeared to look like a darker area compared to her skin colour. You know what I'm saying? It could well be a slight shadow casted, but the nose area, there is markings there. Even the cheekbone, there's a couple of markings on the crease of the cheekbone too, a few little dots. Blood or freckles, could be one or the other. It could be both. And then on the right hand side for us, her temple area, just under her hair, slightly dark patch, some dots scattered about. Could well be shadows because of the hair, the light, the overhang. Could well be shadows. But the reason why I did look at the hairline too, because beside the brow, there's some other discussions online in general saying, did you look at the hairline? There's blood there too. Sometimes you can get blood in your hair and it might be hard to get out, or you just don't notice it at first, depending on the situation. Do we actually see any though? Well, if we're following the rule of patchiness, darkness on that side of the temple, it does kind of match on the left side of the temple. That's probably more so shadows and grain. But the hairline, yeah, it does look a bit patchy. It does look slightly red, and I've not enhanced the saturation. It does look a bit reddish. I don't know if you agree or not. On her forehead, the hairline area, there's a few patches there, but then again, it's not guaranteed. How does that compare though to this one? As said, one's got improved brightness, the other one not so much. This one's got zero grain, or not zero grain, zero sharpness. Yeah, as said, we're only working with what we've got, but what we can do though is at least do maybe a side-by-side comparison shortly, just to see, is there anything that different or prominent from one photo to another? Stick around for that. If we go back to what Jasmine Millan had said the 3rd of November 2023, whether it explains why she took the photo or what she was thinking, I'll reiterate it once again, most part of it. Jasmine had said, I just want to make something clear. I posted this picture not knowing that the worst was going to happen, not knowing Noah would never come back. It was normal for Noah to wander off. Nobody thought he wouldn't be back. So don't even think for a second just because I posted that means I know what happened to him, because I'm just as clueless as everyone else. That's the thing. Jasmine could well be clueless. Yet it was 11-minute time difference of when Noah walked away to then just after Jasmine came outside. How far away was Noah to Jasmine? How much distance could Noah have covered on foot if he was going east? And that's the other thing. Whether it be Avery, whether it be Jack, or more so Logan Jernigan, the last person to see Noah walking away, it means that at least Logan, for example, was outside, front of the party house property, under the patio area, for example, just looking ahead as Noah wanders off into the darkness and fades out. At what time, though? Okay, it said 3:30 is when Noah walked away. Was 3:30 the same time when Logan was outside? Did Logan follow Noah out at the same time as when Noah was leaving? Or was there a 1 to 2 minute time delay by any chance? Or a 30-second delay, as in who followed who? You never know. And, if Logan did see Noah walk away at 3:30, right, when Jasmine Millan came out at 11 minutes later, what triggered Jasmine to come outside? What triggered her to take the photo? It's understandable. You may have not known what was going to happen and you just simply anticipated it like any other time in the past. But what was the reasoning behind the photo and the caption? It's trying to establish, is this an anomaly? Or is this the norm? Just like how it's the norm of Noah walking off, you do a post about it online. We don't know because we haven't really got anything to compare it to. All we have is Caden and Jasmine individually saying it's normal for Noah to wander off and then return back later. But we've not really heard anyone say it's normal for Noah to wander off and then a person from the party then takes a photo outside announcing that Noah's missing and smiling. That's what makes it stand out just a little bit. Beside that, what else do we have? I'm sick of it. Noah was my friend and I loved him so much. It hurts that people could even think that any of us could have done anything to hurt him. We all loved Noah. We have told the authorities everything that we know. Of course, there are some people in the community that state that, if you care about Noah and it's not possible to have done anything to hurt him because you care about him so much, well, then you should have said everything and the truth would have come out by now and the case would have been solved by now, as other people in the background say. But then the counterpoint is partygoers and so on are saying that they have communicated, they've told the authorities everything. And at the end of the day, it's not been enough to reach a true conclusion. Whether, regardless of the cause of death, it's not reached a true head. So, different ways of looking at it. Anyway, what else do we have? We have told the authorities everything that we know. Y'all think y'all have it all figured out. Y'all don't. Someone is really out there thinking they got away with murder because y'all are blaming us for something we didn't do. I hope and pray that nobody has ever go through any of this after losing a friend or someone you loved so dearly and would never hurt. I just hope that when the truth comes out, the real criminal hasn't gotten away with something they shouldn't have. I have nothing more to say to anyone. I've told all I know. I don't know what more y'all want me from. Nothing but the truth. Look, this is the thing, and I might have done a video on it already. I might have to do another video about it at some point. Partygoers can, plead their innocence and say that they had nothing to do with it and they don't know what happened. Okay. You got people online, members of the general public, that are saying, whether it be Jasmine or more so Avery, Jack, Logan, Party House and all that have something to do with Noah's death, and they're not telling the truth, because if they had from day one, the case would have been solved by now, blah, 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 blah. Can we at least acknowledge something of value, regardless of what side you are on? Now, take in mind, the statement by Jasmine was in 2023. Things could have changed since, as for perspective and what could have happened and if anyone's responsible. But we're just basing it off Jasmine's Facebook post. Whether you believe it's murder or not, whether you believe party goers are involved or truly innocent, can we at least acknowledge what Jasmine Millan said here? Based on how I interpret it, it's like Jasmine Millan is possibly acknowledging that there could well be murder and foul play, just that the partygoers, or the people that she knows of, had nothing to do with it. I'll zoom in just a little bit, hopefully it shows on screen. So when Jasmine said, y'all think you have it all figured out, someone is really out there thinking they got away with murder, because the rest of you, the general public, are too busy blaming us for something we didn't do. So you're giving the true murderer the perfect cover to just get on with it and live a life, whilst the general public are pointing the blame at the wrong people. I mean, this could have changed as for the mindset. Maybe I'm looking too deep into it. But when it comes to language, wording and meaning, if you truly believed that there was foul play and murder, whether you're suspicious of Jasmine Millan being involved or not, or other party-goers, you have a literal party-goer here who could be considered on the dark side or in the middle of the fence, and this person themselves, at some point, in a way, was acknowledging that Noah possibly could have been murdered, and that there is an actual murderer out there on the run. Why is that not being acknowledged? You know, from one side that pushes murder and foul play, it's not malleable. They just think, murder, foul play, party-goer, friend, end of. But what if it is murder? What if there is foul play, but it's from a stranger party-goer, a non-friend, or a passerby? Why not acknowledge that outside of the box? I know people could say, maybe Jasmine is deflecting here, but just the fact that there's consideration of murder and that there is a murderer out there, surely that's got to stand for something. Maybe I do a separate video on this because it might need some repetition for it to sink in, you know? Jasmine Millan is calling out the general public at the time, saying all of you think you have it figured out, as in who's responsible and what happened. But there is someone, Jasmine is saying there is someone really out there thinking they got away with murdering Noah, because the general public are too busy pointing the finger at the wrong people. So that murderer doesn't have to worry about being caught. I think that's nature. I think that's really important. I know it's 2023, but still, that early on, considering murder and foul play, when back then, what was more so pushed on and off was hit and run, or more an accident. Of course, if it's hit and run, it can be criminal, it can be foul play, it can be this and that still. But true cause of death not mentioned here by Jasmine, just saying that there is a person out there getting away with it. Creepy in a way. And when dealing with this, in particular, party house, where the body was found. 3:30, Noah leaves the party. 5:43, Tyler Hudman, semi-truck driver, spots Noah's body, makes the call. And then 5:53, Tyler Hardy, in his Ford F-150, who was behind Hudman, eventually made a call too. And then 6 in the morning onwards, you had Jack Newton. 6:05, Jack calling his father. And supposedly after that point, coming back to the party house to announce the news to everyone. 6:15, is, I think, when 6:15 or 6:18, in between that, when Jimmy Williams undersheriff showed up, and then later the sheriff Jeremiah Wilson, and so on and so on. Investigation, case opened up, and a bit later on, 7:30, 7:40, supposedly the highway section was closed, so back roads had to be used. The back roads that you see, like there, that road. And where's the other one at? Oh, it's not in shot. That back road next to the Sandplank Crossing on the left. The other back road's further off screen, but we could possibly go into Google Earth slightly later to try and make sense of if Jasmine is involved and we've been in close proximity to getting blood on her face. What happened from there exactly? It would imply if Jasmine does have blood on her face and she's at the party house, under those conditions, whatever happened to Noah happened on the property. He may have ended up on the highway, but what really happened at the party house, under those conditions. As I said, I'm trying to use specific wording, trying to be careful under what we're working with. But we'll take a look at this one. And do we have a side-by-side comparison? We do. Before we go any further, we might as well acknowledge this. This was the kitchen area. Joyce Bergow suggested that this was the photo that Lisa Jederman, or whatever the name is, was referring to in regard to Jasmine and Noah, the kitchen photo, and then Jasmine outside on the porchway and the fake wet patches and it being edited to make it look like a different time when it's all at the same point, which didn't really make much sense. Nevertheless, when we're looking at Jasmine here, appears to be wearing the same top as what she was wearing Monday. I mean, the colour's slightly different, but I believe it's the same one. You can't see the writing or the print of the shirt on the chest area, but it's just because of the camera angle. But when looking at her face, she is smiling. She is also not looking directly at the camera. Whether she's drunk or not in this moment, she's not looking at the actual camera. Even Carter, on the right, Carter Combs, and even Jack Newton, none of them on the right are actually looking directly at the camera. Only Noah Presgrove is making eye contact with us. He seems to know where to look for the actual photo. But you know what? In fairness, when it comes to taking photos, maybe on a mobile phone, if you're using the front-facing camera, you tend not to look directly at the lens. You tend to be more distracted by looking at the screen, as in who's in shot, can you see everything? But if I was to do a video to you with a front-facing camera, looking at the screen of the phone, my eyes aren't going to be looking at the lens, meaning I'm not looking directly at you when I'm talking. It looks like I'm distracted looking off camera at something else. And sometimes that has happened. Like that point when I was sat down trying to do a video, some neighbour next door, in the dark, came out with a pair of underpants on, and only that, and was walking about thinking, whoa, don't need that distraction, thank you very much. Beside that then, what they're doing is similar to what Jasmine was doing here. She might be looking at the camera, she might be looking at the phone screen and not the phone front-facing camera, meaning there's no eye contact, and falsely interpreting it as if she was looking at something off screen, ahead of her, in the dark, in front of her. It creates that false interpretation based on the patterns and trends here. The reason why Noah's looking directly at us or more towards us is because he's looking at the front-facing camera and not the screen of the phone. If you're using the rear-facing camera of a phone, you haven't really got much to look at besides the camera. That's what you're going to be looking at the most. You might still not get perfect eye contact when looking at the back-facing camera of a phone because some phones have 2, 3, 4 cameras and you don't know which one's being used at that time. Is it the telescopic one? Is it the macro lens? Is it the wide-angle one? Is it the standard view? You don't know. So it can be a bit confusing. I'm just giving you all the different circumstances, but basing it off this being supposedly Sunday or Sunday night, she's got that shirt on, supposedly the same ones from Sunday to Monday. Does her face look different? The angling and the way she's looking is slightly different. I mean, maybe I did rotate the image on the right to try and make it center and stable with the one on the left. So I have rotated the porch one to get it in line so we can compare it a bit easier. But if it was unedited, she's more got her head tilted, pretty much. And because of that slightly different angle, her face proportions do look different. On the left, she looks more full and bright and glowing, but that's just because of the lighting casting on her face, on her forehead, cheeks. Could be humid as well, a bit of sweat too. As for her eyes, they look a bit more sunken. Her eyes look more sunken on the left compared to the right. Try and zoom in a little bit. It's not as prominent, the mascara, the eyeliner, but it's probably still there. There are slight dark patches underneath, but that could just more be the, what do you call it, eyelids? The odd crease, nothing really major. The nose area, because of the shine, it's hard to look for any freckles or dots. As for the brows, it's hard to make them out, but they are there. They're just, maybe it's based on the lighting. They look very faint. They look faded in a way. But to be honest, if it's more faded, anything that was there on top or within should stand out more, and it doesn't seem to. You don't see a prominent black dot. Hairline around there, once again, very bright. But then again, if you're comparing a photo with higher light source compared to the one on the right, it's going to show up differently. You know, if there was blood, obviously you wouldn't expect blood to be on this one because it's around everyone, including Noah. It just wouldn't make sense. But then again, if for whatever reason there was stains, marks or blood, even when Noah was still alive, you could interpret it as, well, maybe it's somebody else's blood. Maybe it was something completely different and harmless. I mean, there is still shine on Jasmine's face on the right. As for her forehead or just above her eyebrows and around her cheeks area. But I don't know, it's just the angling, that's the problem. I can imagine some people could say, is this a conspiracy? The person on the left is not the person on the right, it's two separate people. One's Jasmine, the other one's a person in disguise. I wonder if anyone will get to that point, come to that conclusion. But yeah, the face proportions do look different. The one on the left looks a bit more full and bigger. The one on the right looks a bit more slim. Whether that be down to a filter, who knows? Because the Snapchat one on the right, if you take it into consideration, because you can get filters on Snapchat and social media, if you've already added overlays onto the image and whether you've enhanced the colour tone, you may have used a filter to either make your eyes bigger, your pupils bigger, your cheekbones, jawline more slimmer. Who knows? But would they? Or is this a natural photo? To me, this looks like a natural photo. It's not perfect, but it's not a bad thing either. You get what I'm saying? It's like when you get people's profile pictures on, for example, YouTube. At times you can tell when it's enhanced makeup, filter, AI, and all of that. People will do that to make themselves feel good, or they need it as a sense of safety, security, and a shield to protect themselves. Maybe because of the past. Maybe because of how they've been treated. Maybe because they have false expectations and standards because of all the other shit in life and online. It's got to a point of competition, competing, comparing, and trying to outdo one another, or to try and maintain unrealistic expectations, which can be tiring, exhausting upon oneself. But when you finally get a natural photo or a person shows themselves naturally, That's what genuine people want to see and see the best of as it is. I've come across enhanced AI photos, when you come across people online, and it's unfortunate in a way, because I feel that deep down, the people with those AI images secretly either are unable or too afraid to show their real face. You get what I'm saying? Whereas me, different situation, different person, different gender as well. Many factors to take in mind. When you look at my profile picture, it's a bit of an older one now. Back then, so would have been a bit more younger, but not that much. It's pretty natural. It might have been enhanced as for the contrast, but that's more the background because of the bridge. But that's my face. And what you see with me, my face, my voice, that's just how it is, right? I don't see the point of faking it or enhancing it, because if I did, it's like, it's not fair for the other person. You might think, well, what is the situation and the circumstances? Does it really matter? It's better to be consistent just for that stability. If I faked my face or enhanced it or used AI or anything like that, people could see it. People might like it. People may not be bothered. But anyone that did, if then you show your real face, there might be a contrast. The person may react badly, or they may just feel like they've been lied to or betrayed. I don't want to do that. I don't want to screw people over. But linking back to what we're dealing with here, okay? Maybe a different angle. Maybe if food or alcohol is being consumed, maybe because of the mood, maybe because of the temperatures, maybe that can impact the fullness. Maybe not in a quick span of time. I'm just trying to think of all different possibilities, why it could look a bit different from one photo to another. Hydration levels, malnourished, dehydrated, humidity, temperatures. Has certain areas on the body become a bit swollen, puffy because of the temperature? Just worth taking in mind, right? But ultimately, as for her skin, what's on her face, well, yes, it appears that there are dots and markings, and maybe more clear on this one. They could well be freckles, those little dots. You never know. It's a bit grainy as well. Some marks slightly on the nose area, down here as well, and possibly on the side. Smudged eyeliner, mascara, who knows? If you see any smudged eyeliner, mascara there, slightly. Black dot, as you see there. But if it's going to be blood, if it's going to be any splatter, is it just going to be a dot, or is there going to be a bit more to it? Kind of like how people were saying, if there was supposed to be true blood at the highway, if it all happened, shouldn't there be like more of it? Splatter marks, trickles, skid marks, things like that. Bit patchy up there, as in if there was blood or not. Some dots there, possibly. I'm just trying to give you the full perspective possible so you get the chance yourself to come to a fair conclusion or reach a certain point of what you think is like the case. Little dot there. And then we're zooming in on all that. If you used to compare it to the face hair, chin, clean, nose, looks clean, but the shine of it may mask some of the freckles or possible blood splatter, but masking it, or it just wasn't there to begin with, likely when you're in the presence of everyone else before Noah walked away, before Noah's death. Nose looks clean. Cheek area, can't really see any dots. Take in mind this photo is more blurry, so it is going to be harder to make out certain marks and areas. And to be honest, this photo, or this one, the skin seems more smooth and a consistent tone, colour to it, with the shine as well. Then the forehead, can't really see blood, can't see any patches or dots or marks. Most importantly, as for the eyebrow, could you make out a slight little dot there? Because if a slight little dot's there, if it's present, just like how it is here, you can make the argument and say, if it was there when Noah was alive and it's there when Noah afterwards, then it's not blood. But that one is closer to the end of the brow. Is it here? It's hard to make out because it's not clear enough. It's blurry. And this is what we've been dealing with. This was 2023, okay? And back then, technology was decent enough to take decent quality photos and videos. Was it a photo though? Does anyone know, was this a photo? Not a screenshot from a video, but a photo? And was it uploaded to Snapchat? And as with the text on it, Jasmine, Carter, okay. Was that added on by someone in the community online, from case discussion page to army page, in the early days when trying to label who was who? I'm interested, because this is what I remember it as. I don't know if anyone else does. Interesting nevertheless. So there are some possible visual changes. And if there are changes, what wasn't there but is later once Noah's walked away, I can understand why some could put the argument across and say, well, then that must mean it's blood. Do I think it's truly blood? It's hard to come to that definitive conclusion at this moment, right? But I do understand that there have been times just in general in life where a person may have had blood on them and they've tried washing it all off and then they forgot to get rid of one spot, one area, and it's caught up with them later. As for the theory of Noah walking away and then Jasmine coming out after to take the photo, if she had blood on her, how would that look? How would things come about? Maybe we should head on over to Google Earth right now. The project that I've decided to use is a partial timeline leading up to 3:30, but also the tension and conflict leading up to that verbally or physically in regard to what Noah Presgrave encountered when it came to the girl trouble. Did Jasmine Millan ever get stuck in between it all? Did she ever break up any arguments? Did she just overhear it? What was really going on? So, the second/the third, a crossover. Logan, Noah sleeping, passing out on the floor. Caden Pressey said he was woken up, I guess the early hours of the morning, when Avery was mad and issuing a death threat towards Noah. Partisan True Crime interview. Noah Presgrave insulted Avery, and Avery issued a death threat to Noah for saying a certain word. If you say it again, I will kill you. That's how it was interpreted. RS, Robin Smith, had mentioned that Avery Howard, wasn't mad and allowed it, as in Logan and Noah sleeping beside each other, or at least allowed the consideration of that to take place when it came to the Monday, I guess, when Noah wanted to sleep in the bed and Avery said no, but Avery allowed Noah to sleep on the floor at least with one of her friends, which could well be a girl. But would it be Logan then? Logan's got her own bed. Maybe not, but another girl, Logan or another girl, Avery wasn't that bothered by it. If Avery's not bothered by it, as Robin says, why was Avery bothered by it with what Caden Pressey said the day before? And parts in True Crime. Interesting. Best not say the name. Sorry. I best not say the name. We don't want to summon any demonic entities. But yes, supposedly Avery mad and chased Noah Presgrave around the time when Noah Presgrave was going to walk away from the party house at 3:30. The fourth, with Noah sleeping with Logan or Avery not working out, leading to 3:30 walking off. Jack Newton and Avery, verbal fight with Noah, no time directly given, but could have been around the time when Noah was walking away, as mentioned in the wrongful death lawsuit. An important event, but not really talked about any other places before that. Logan left to see Noah walking away. Did Jasmine Millan ever get involved in any of these events, or at least witness them? Exactly. Because it seems like at the Very last moment when Noah Presgrave was walking away from conflict, it could have been following him out at the time. Whether that be because he started it, not to warrant death, but just an outburst, a little petty argument, an exchange of words and that's it. Or if it be because people had issues with Noah when Noah didn't do much wrong, depending which way you look at it. As Noah's walking off at 3:30, Jasmine Millan ends up coming out of the house 11 minutes later, 3:41, and the perspective that she has, she's looking this way towards the driveway and the field. North, east, south, facing south. That's what Jasmine was doing, the front porch under the patio area. With knowing that and possibly looking at the camera screen rather than the front-facing camera, the only counterpoint that I would say, actually, you're more likely to look off camera, or it looks like that, when you've got your phone horizontal, sideways across because of the size of the screen and looking at that as it fills out. If you've got your phone more vertical, the aspect ratio is a lot smaller. You're not going to be looking off to your left or right. You're going to be looking straight on. And it's just a little bit above where the camera actually is, the front-facing one. So it would look more like you're looking down rather than looking up at the camera. If you've got it horizontal, sideways, because it goes across, you could be looking slightly off to the left, more so than the right where the actual camera is, the front-facing one. So does it excuse Jasmine for looking off camera but at the screen if it's vertical, with it being a vertical selfie from the looks of it, providing it's not being cropped, the image? Interesting. What I'm saying is, if you got it vertical, you're holding it vertical like a normal phone, taking a selfie, you should be more either looking directly at the camera or you're looking down because you're looking at the screen. She's looking off to the left, meaning she is looking off an angle. But if the selfie is mirrored, does that make everything flipped? Like it is a doorbell. Is a doorbell on the right, but in the camera perspective it's on the left because it's been reversed, it's been flipped because it's the front-facing mirrored camera? Because if that's the case, and it's just a suggestion, if everything is flipped around, and considering that it looks like she's looking off camera, whilst to us it looks like she's looking off camera to the right, facing south, it would be her looking southwest, that way. But if the camera's mirrored, naturally she would be looking the other way, which would be that way, southeast. And it just so happens at the time of 3:30, when Noah was walking away, Logan saw Noah walking east. 11 minutes later, Jasmine Millan comes out, takes a photo, and take away the mirror, Jasmine is looking roughly the same direction which Noah Presgrave walked in 11 minutes earlier. That's interesting, that. But why would Jasmine be looking in the direction Noah Presgrave walked off if Jasmine's back at the house and has the blood of Noah on her face? How does that make sense? If Noah was alive and walked away at 3:30, and then Jasmine ends up with Noah's blood 11 minutes later, it's a very short time frame window for things to go on and happen. But if it all happened when Noah Presgrave was outside at 3:30 onwards, and Jasmine was outside 11 minutes later, could Jasmine have been outside 11 minutes earlier as well in order to be around Noah when Noah's outside, when Noah possibly dies at that point, and Jasmine's nearby and the blood collects on her face? But does that prove direct murder? Does it prove direct foul play? It could prove, at least, or under those circumstances as a theory, it could highlight more so foul play. Being involved or seeing but not doing anything. and then taking a photo to make it seem like Noah's missing, as in he's alive but not here. But in reality, it means he's missing, he's not here, he's not alive. And the blood on their face proves that. But they don't know. They forgot about it. They didn't clean it off. You can see how you can piece it all together. But for anyone, based on the injuries that Noah Presgrove sustained, whether that be close to the party house, outside of the house, further away, down the dirt road, out of sight, out of mind, wherever something could have happened to Noah Presgrove, do you think Jasmine Millan saw everything? Well, if you're going to push the idea of blood on a person's face, which is more than likely a splatter, you probably have to be there in person and close for that to make contact to you. But if you're going to get a blood splatter on your face, surely you're going to get it on your top as well. You'd have to either clean it or change your clothes. And from the looks of it, Jasmine didn't change her clothes. And if she kept it how it was, surely other people would have picked up on whether she had blood on her or not. You've got to take that into consideration. Could you even argue and say maybe it's not even blood? It could be dirt. It could be dust. But what caused that? I mean, not with her. But if another person had no blood but lots of dirt on them, marks, have been rolling around in the dirt, have they been fighting or wrestling someone? Things like that. Like Noah Presgrove, Monday, 1:05 in the morning, Noah had a dusty rear end with his black shorts. Was that because he sat down on the concrete of the patio? Or is it because he was wrestling one of the other party guys and falling to the ground or grappling on the ground, making contact, touching? You know, certain environments can tell a story to an action that was going on in the moment. Does that involve Jasmine Millan at a point? See, got to take into consideration what was on Jasmine Millan's face possibly Monday at 3:41, whilst it didn't look like it was on her face the night before, Sunday. Well, what time was that kitchen photo of Noah and Jasmine exactly? Was it at 10:30? Was it at 10:50? Was it at 11 p.m? Was it earlier, 9 p.m, 8 p.m, Sunday? Because then you've got to find the time frame window of one photo to another and what could have happened in between for the face to change, for things to look a little bit different, for marks to appear compared to before. Don't all have to link to that 10, 11 minute time frame window of when Noah walked away at 3:30 and then when she takes that photo announcing the situation of Noah being missing at least. If we had any more party photos of Monday morning which showed Jasmine Millan in camera angle shot, you could use that to compare. But I don't have that, so I had to use Sunday night, which creates a bigger time frame window, which allows more things to have taken place in between to cause a possible change. And ideally, when you're working out what happened to Noah Presgrove and where, you want the time frame window to be as small and tight as possible to really narrow it down. And the events of Noah walking away after calling out Avery or being frustrated because he couldn't sleep in one of the girls' beds, and then walking off, and Logan possibly seeing Noah walking off, there's not much going on there in that time frame window. But could there be more depth? I said, a theory or what could have happened with Jasmine, we can't get too deep because we don't have too much to work with, but if anything did happen to Noah on site at the property, at the party house, Jasmine would have had to have been close up. If that blood is blood and on her face, she'd have to be close to Noah and the time of the death for that all to happen. Then for her to take a selfie photo to say Noah's missing and play it off like nothing, that's very dark and sinister. Not good whatsoever. But how likely is it, though, that perspective? You let me know in the comment section below. Now, if we transition back to some of the photos of the past which show Jasmine Millan and her closeness to Noah Presgrove, whilst in her November post on Facebook saying that Noah was a good friend, were they really friends? Or were they more than friends? Because at some point before Noah's death and before the party, there was a time where Noah was quite close to Jasmine, and physically and intimately speaking. And yes, with it's not it's a coincidence that it's Valentine's Day today, and with what we're talking about right here, it's just the day it's fallen on. But beside that, you might be wondering, what the hell's going on here? Why is there a banana on the left with a shocked face, and who's that profile picture on the right off camera? This is a zoomed in perspective from TikTok, okay? Now, I am on TikTok. I do cover the Noah Presgrove case over there on and off, and other videos too. And, shout out to people that have come on over to TikTok from, the coverage that I do. It is appreciated, and I don't forget it. But yeah, on the right, that profile picture, or half of one, is actually of Renee Millan, the mother to Jasmine Millan, Jade Millan, Stephanie Millan. Jasmine and Stephanie, the ones that were directly at the party. Renee Millan arrived afterwards, post-death of Noah, with the Caden Pressey story and all of that. But this is like some kind of edited old video, memory one, of Noah and Jasmine kissing each other. And it was like put on a green screen of some kind of cartoon. It was edited by, I think, Jade Millan. I think it was edited by Jade Millan. Video passed on over to the mother, Renee Millan, who uploaded it to her own TikTok page, showing Noah and Jasmine kissing each other. This is just a screenshot in case you're wondering, but you can clearly see there is eye contact. Jasmine is on the right, Noah's on the left. I think Noah also has that chain or necklace around his neck. It's a bit gold, but unless that's something else. But look at Noah making direct eye contact deep into Jasmine's eyes, close, breathing upon her skin, his hand caressing her hair, and on her left shoulder, collarbone, lightly making contact, applying light weight. And then both of them kissing, eyes closed, closing the eyes to enhance the senses, the touch, the feel, the smell, and all of that, embracing one another. Is that what friends do? Maybe not quite like that. Maybe if it was a kiss on the forehead or maybe the side of the cheek, but a full-on kiss like that, and it's almost like the noses are squashed or pressed against one another, that's quite intimate. Why am I showing you this? Because, like how Jasmine Millan said, how could you think us had anything to do with Noah's death? More specifically, as a case study, would you expect Jasmine to have anything to do with Noah's death when at some point in the past both of them were close, whether they be in a relationship or not? A person that kisses you and looks at you a certain way, would they also kill you afterwards or be involved in that and not come out or speak out about it? Unless there was some tricky circumstances. That's why it can be hard to believe. And if at any point ever did come out true that someone was responsible, or some people, the feeling of betrayal would obviously be a lot more intense by the victim families, the victim's friends, or anyone else in between. But just the connection that they supposedly had at some point looked quite close and intimate. But then again, you've got the party. However far ago this was compared to the party, Noah was in a different relationship at the time with an actual girlfriend who wasn't at the party. But Noah was also, with Logan Jernigan, from what Robin Smith, Ashley Chadwick, cousin and aunt said, that Noah was doing a lot more than kissing, supposedly, and relaying it on from maybe what Jack was hinting at, as in there was more intimate based things. So Noah was getting about with a range of different people. Would that ever trigger any jealousy or previous outrage from someone thinking, oh, you've moved on, what about me? Any revenge, anything like that? Or maybe not revenge, but from a disassociation, not wanting to be or associate yourselves with someone anymore because of the hurt, the pain, the reminders, I wonder. But you let me know your thoughts about that. And even this one, October 28th, 2023. September, October, November, December, right? October. This is a post by Jasmine Millan on her Facebook page back then. Quite raw in the moment post-death of Noah Presgrove, not that far apart from his death. And the caption said, "This tattoo has so much meaning to me. I have so much love for you forever and always, Noah." And when looking at it closer, from this perspective, Noah does have that gold chain around his neck. But is that the same one? It looks like he's got two. He's actually got a smaller chain with a cross around his neck, but then he's got a bigger gold chain around his neck, similar to what you see in this one. Yeah, like gold chain there. They are both wearing white tops. It seems like the time when Noah and Jasmine kissed each other is the same photo of this one as they're together. And they've also got writing on each other's tops. The one on the right says Noah Presgrove with a love heart, and then I guess the one on the left might say Jasmine Millan. Is this something to do with finishing school or something else? You know, they've got names on each other's tops, showing love for one another with the heart symbol as well. But what type of love? Platonic friendship? In between friendship and relationship, or an actual relationship at some point? It's interesting. Both look happy. And when looking at this, just this photo itself, both of them, would you expect Jasmine here to be capable or responsible to what happened with Noah at the party? Is it hard or easy to believe that it could be the case, based on the claims of blood on her face? And then that's the tattoo, which is quite recent back then when it was taken. Noah Presgrove with a love heart and a dove, representing possible love and maybe peace. All in all, hopefully you found this video somewhat interesting. It's a little bit of a shame that last night's didn't seem to get the true reach, but it just goes to show how important other areas and platforms are with awareness rather than YouTube itself as a platform. It does seem like YouTube itself, whilst yes, I try to keep it alive, I guess either the reach or just strangers out there just don't know about this case, unfortunately. And others don't return back until they hear about the official news channels and all of that. Yeah, but hopefully this does get the reach. And if you did enjoy the video, be sure to hit the thumbs up. Let me know if you liked it. And if you want to share the video so more people get to see it, that will be helpful. And I would say in some ways it has created some more ideas and analysis that need to be done. Whilst I touched upon it briefly today, I think a separate video and title is deserving of that, to look deeper. People want to say, oh, I just focus in on Caden. And then people say, oh, I just want to focus in a dog ambassador. And then other people then focus in and say, yeah, but you're just focusing on this person. I'm focusing in on everyone, okay? Just not all at the same time. It wouldn't be possible, would it? Come on. With that being said, I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Goodbye. Good night for now.